Hello and welcome. My name's Sam and this is the Little Greenhouse Creates. Thank you for joining me today, and we are doing our first card for the stamp set of the week, birthday celebrations. So it's this beautiful stamp set we've got here. As I said earlier on in the day, it is mainly sentiments. You've got, let me bring in my piece of card that I normally have. Here we go. We can see it better this way. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 little images, and then the rest is all about the sentiments. So you've got happy birthday, to, cake, you, make a wish, hooray, day, your, for. So you could have first, second, third, and fourth. So you've got your little letters there, and that is the stamp set. Now we will focus more tomorrow on the dies, but today we are all about the stamps and the images. So it's just these ones here. So actually we're going to focus on 1, 2, 3, 4, these 4 little images here to create this card. So let me bring in the supplies and we can begin. So the first thing I have got is peach pie. Now that measures 8 inches by 5 3/4, and we'll score it at the 4-inch mark in a moment. I have 3 pieces, 3 pieces, and they all measure 3.5 by 5 1/4. As you can hear, Bella is with me this morning. Boots is hiding in the other room. I also have a piece of Pool Party that measures 3 3/4 by 5 1/2. And then I have Pretty in Pink. Now this is, okay, so this is 3 5/8 by 5 3/8. It's all little measurements, unfortunately, today. And then I have got 2 pieces of for the sentiment. So the first bit is 3 3/8 by 2 1/2, and then that gets layered on Pretty in Pink, and that is 3.5 by 3.5 by 2 5/8. I will make sure that all the measurements are on my blog so that you can, if you wish to recreate this card, then you pop over to my blog and you will find all the measurements there. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take one of the 3 pieces and we are going to do a bit of blending. So I've got myself a blend brush and I have got Pool Party. So literally what you're going to do is you're going to cover the whole of this white piece of cardstock in blended version of the Pool Party. Now I am not going to do all of that today. I have already got a piece aside as I would normally have, but I just wanted to show you what is the suggestion. So rub your brush gently onto your pad, and then working from outside into, you just work your way round your card base until all your card base is covered with the Pool Party. Now I have used the colours that are suggested or have been used in the paper. So this is my brain has just switched off. I do apologise. But what I was trying to say to you was you don't obviously have to stick with these nut colours. You could use whichever colours you prefer. This, as I say, is the Pool Party. Okay, so I'm not going to cover all of that. I'm going to leave the Pool Party out, and I'm going to bring in the first of the leaves. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tap that, and then I'm going to work my way around this bit I've done so far. I'll bring this up to the camera just so that you can see, hopefully you can see that. So you've got the light Pool Party, and then you've got the darker shade over with the leaf. Okay, we will return to that, so bear with. And then I'm bringing in the Pretty in Pink, and I'm going to pop the heads onto my leaves that I've just done. Just going to change over. Now, you can, if you find with photopolymer that it is a little bit hit and miss, it doesn't always happen, but occasionally it can do, you can get yourself a little mat like this, and it just gives you that extra sponge effect that you would get if you had the red cling. Okay, so it just gives you a slightly crisper image. So just add that. So again, this is Pretty in Pink. Sorry, there's a hair there. Okay, so that's that bit. And then what I'm going to do, I'm just going to clean that off very quickly. You wouldn't believe that my chamois is actually clean, but it is, I promise you. All right, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in the Pool Party again. I just quite like this little block. Pop that onto there now. Unfortunately, they don't make them anymore, which is a real shame. So again, Pool Party for the oh no, bear with me. Right, that is a flower. I actually need the leaf. Oh dear. You can tell chaos was raining yesterday, can't you? There we go. So we're just going to put a few little leaves in. Just to work myself around there. So I've put the little leaf in. Clean that off on my block. Now I'm going to bring in the flower, which is the closed bud of this one. And this one I'm going to stamp in the Pretty Peach Pie, which is a in colour. And I haven't used it very often. Which was about the same issue I had with Pebble Path. The first year it came out, I very rarely used it, and now I can't believe it's going. I'm going to miss it so much. So if you have Pebble Path, or you haven't got Pebble Path, or any of the in colours, now is the time to get them before they are gone forever. Right, so there is my images. Now you're going to do that all over your piece of paper, which you can see I have done here. And now we are going to bring in our cutter. So let's pop that down and bring in my cutter. There we are. And I'm going to cut it into strips. The strips are going to be 3/4 of an inch. Okay, so, and I'm going to keep them in line. So I'll do that on there. So that's 1, 2. I can't believe it. Yesterday we had the most wonderful weather and I was in bed with a migraine, and today I'm up early and it's pouring with rain. It's always the way, isn't it? Mind you, there is a saying, never cast a cloud until May is out. So maybe. There we go. Right. And I have now got my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and my tiny bit that's left over. And that will now fit onto my card base. The best suggestion is you put a piece at one end and then the other piece at the other end, and then you work your way into it. And that will give you the little gaps in between. Now you might need to just move it around a bit to make sure you've got those little gaps. There we go. And then you just glue it down, making sure it's straight, obviously. And I would suggest that we use the multi-purpose, because that then gives us the wriggle room. So the first thing I'm going to do, as I said, I'm going to pop those. Let's put them so I don't. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so the first one I'm going to put a bit of glue on the back. Oh, come on. There we go. The magic shake. Okay, and I'm going to pop that down there, like so. And the thing I want to do is make sure that it doesn't show over on the edge here. Okay, and it sits. So that's why we're using the multi-purpose, because it gives you that wriggle room that you can just move it. Make sure that the edges are exactly level and there's no overlay. Yeah, that's perfect. And now what you can do is you can add your second piece or second end, which I'm going to do. There's a dripping I can hear. I think it's outside of the other side of the room, but it's very annoying. So if you can hear it, apologies. It might just be me and I can hear it. Again, so I'm checking. Yep, that's fine. And that sticks down there. So the next thing to do is to add the next two pieces in. So you need a space, probably, I don't know, 1/8 of an inch. Let's have a look. 1/8. I think it's going to be about 1/8 of an inch the whole way around. Yeah. So we're looking at 1/8 of an inch between each strip. All right. So again, glue. So we've got the wriggle. There we are. Obviously make sure that the pattern continues and you haven't got it upside down. Ask me how I know that bit. It's amazing, isn't it, how things don't always, you have this idea and then they don't always run smoothly because, I don't know, things happen, don't they? You get distracted. So as I say, 1/8 of an inch, approximately. Give it a wriggle to make sure it lines up with the next piece. There we go, that's those two. And then we've got this one. Okay. And so tomorrow we have a slightly different project. And that's all I'm saying for tomorrow's project. But we will be using the papers. I'm going to give you that much information. So do join me tomorrow for our project. Okay, there we go. Perfect. Now while I stick this down onto my Pretty in Pink, if you like my videos, I'm going to ask that you subscribe or press the like button, because that really does help me create more videos. And obviously if you would like to purchase anything, I would love to be your demonstrator. So please do pop over to my shop where you will be able to find all the supplies for the enclosed projects. Lovely. So that has now been put onto the Pretty in Pink, and then I'm going to mount that onto my layer, which is the Pool Party. Okay, so let's do that. Come on you, thank you very much. There we go. Wonderful. Lovely. And I have my first piece to go for inside. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a flower here. So again, I'm going to bring in my Pool Party. There we are. I'm going to use that's this one. Let's just make sure it's clean. Give it a quick wipe. And then stamp it down here. There we are. And I'm going to put my little pink, Pretty in Pink flower on the top. I'm going to take that, pop it on my block, and then there we go. Close that up. And then now what we need to do is to bring in our peach pie. I'm going to fold that, but obviously for those of you that wish to score, you're scoring it at the 4-inch mark, and then burnishing with your bone folder. There we are. So the first thing we're going to do is put in our inside piece. So again, I'm using the multi-purpose. Throw that aside. And that will go in there, just like so. Brilliant, straight down, there we are. And now we can put our top piece on, and that will go on. It's just like ice creams, isn't it? I'm loving the colours. All right, and then we're just going to load that onto there. And so the next thing we need, or the final thing we need really, is the sentiment. So I'm going to make this one a happy birthday card again. Perfect. So let's bring in our card. So I've got the happy and I've got the birthday mounted. The question is, what colour do I do? I haven't thought this far. Okay, let's have a think. I could... Let's do the happy in the pool party. Well, I want to put the birthday on first. Right, I'm going to bring in the mat just so I get a crisper image. The birthday will go down there. I'm going to do it all in the pool party, I think. And if I don't like it, I'll cut another piece. Right, straighten that. So the birthday is going to go there. And then I've got the happy. And that's going to go just there. Perfect. And what I'm going to do now is going to put a flower on here. I'm going to turn that like so. Bring in my green. Pop that down there, and then I'm going to pop the little flower in the pretty and pink. There we go. Turn it round. Perfect. And then all we need to do is to mount that onto our piece of cardstock. Onto there, like so. So again, we're going to use our multi-purpose, so that will give us our wriggle room. Lovely. Right, there we go. Now, so the next thing to do, that's going to sit onto there. As you can see, it just fits, and I'd like it to have a bit of dimension, so I'm going to use my dimensionals. I'm going to flip it over so that I know that the dimensionals will fit in, so they don't fall down the gap, if you see what I mean. And that goes in there, and then I'm going to grab my scissors and let's do a little bit of chopping here. I'll have to get some more dimensionals out, I think. And that bit goes onto there, that bit goes onto there, and then I'm going to do one piece in the middle there, and one piece, oops, stuck my finger to the middle there. Right, we can take the backings off, like so. Come on. Thank you. Seem to be fingers and thumbs today. Fingers and thumbs. And that will stick in the middle there. Now there's one other thing to do if you want to. Now I've got this tiny piece left over. So you can lift up and you can just add it for a bit of detail onto the inside, which I think I'm going to do. So again, multi-purpose. waste not, want not, as my mum would say. And I'm just going to make sure that fits nicely down there. Okay, and that is our card for today. That's the one we've just created, and this is the one I did earlier. So my question is the darker the better, or the pastel colours? I think I'm veering to the right, but what do you think? Do you like? I mean, obviously I've put bling on here, but you could put bling on this one. I'm not sure. But yes, I think I prefer these darker colours to the lighter colours. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below, and I hope to catch up with you soon. See you tomorrow.